So when I first started out in CRO, there was like maybe 2 companies out there that were doing CRO. You know, it was at the time when when most of my sales pitches were about, here's why you should do CRO. You have to convince companies to take some of their budget, and instead of, putting it into campaigns, you'd have to optimize your landing pages. I think for me, it was not about if I would start my own company and be an entrepreneur, it was about when. Because I started my journey working at a social media company. And the thought of owning my own business and having an agency and getting to where I am today, that was a very scary thought. And I don't think I even spent time imagining it because I just loved working for other people. So many brands are talking about their own pricing, their features. They're talking about the technology that they use. They're talking about themselves when they should be talking about the customers. Another misconception is really that it's all about design and it's all about reducing, people don't read, and so write less text and change from blue to red. But really, messaging is the biggest part of conversion optimization. If you get your messaging right, you can skyrocket results. Everyone's saying we're the #1 solution for, or, today it's powered by AI. They're all saying the same thing. It's funny. You can really, like, when you look at certain industries, they all have the same headline. They're all using the same bullet points. They're all saying save time, save money. And it all sounds the same, and they drown in each other. You are not your customer. I think that is like my biggest thing is they will say to me, we know this, or we don't like it, or we founded the company and we know this is not blah, blah, blah. And you are not your customer. You are not your customer. Your website doesn't have to speak to you. It needs to speak to your customers.
Welcome to another episode of the Women in CRO series by VWO Podcast. This series is an ode to the contribution of women in the CRO industry. Before we speak to our special guest for this episode, here's a quick summary of who we are and what we do. VWO is a leading experience optimization platform that helps fast-growing brands optimize their digital experiences. Using our latest product, VWO Insights, you can understand user journeys and identify conversion roadblocks on your website and mobile app. So, without any further delay, let's jump right into the conversation.
Hi everyone, welcome to yet another episode of Women in CRO series. Today we are thrilled to introduce Talia Wolf, a powerhouse in the field of conversion optimization. With over a decade of experience, Talia has not only earned a reputation as one of the most influential experts in her field, but has also trained companies worldwide. She has graced the stages of renowned events such as MozCon and Google, sharing her expertise on understanding audiences, fixing funnel leaks, and driving conversions through emotion-centric strategies. As the founder and CEO of GetUplift, Talia specializes in helping businesses unlock the potential of emotional targeting, persuasive design, and behavioral data to skyrocket their revenue, leads, and engagement. Her approach isn't just about optimizing websites and funnels, it's about understanding the emotional triggers that drive human decision-making. Join us as we dive into the mind of Talia Wolf and learn about CRO. Hi, Talia. Welcome to this podcast, Women in CRO. How are you doing today?
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate the intro. I feel like you've said it all and we're done. Yeah.
So thank you so much for taking the time out. I really appreciate you accepting the invite and becoming a part of this podcast today. I'm really excited to know more about you and your journey because I was actually going through your LinkedIn and really got sort of excited that how your journey looks like because you have started GetUplift, I guess, 13 years back. So it's been more than a decade, to be honest. And I would like to understand how that happened and stuff. But let's start understanding the very basic thing. While you were growing up, right? So did you ever thought that you are going to be sort of being in this journey and you are going to start something of your own? Is it something you always wanted to do?
I grew up in a home where everyone around me was an entrepreneur or a founder, or my dad ran his own business from the age of 12. So many years, and has always been are just founding all sorts of companies and working really, really hard. So I think for me, it was not about if I would start my own company and be an entrepreneur. It was about when. Because I started my journey working at a social media company. And the thought of owning my own business and having an agency and getting to where I am today, that was a very scary thought. And I don't think I even spent time imagining it because I just loved working for other people. So actually, you asked about an accident. It wasn't an accident, but I got pregnant with my first kid, with my first child. And I kind of felt like it was now or never. And that was the trigger. So it was more about, I want to do this. I believe in what I do. I love conversion optimization. I want to do it the way I believe we should be doing it. And that, that was like, okay, it's now or never. This is the time. So yeah.
Cool. As in, so basically we always need that push, right? So correctly said that it's now or never, right? So till the time we don't decide that, hey, we want to do this thing and we have to go for it, I don't think that we are ever going to achieve our dreams or something of that sort. So thank you for providing this insight. And I am sure that audiences will be able to, especially women, will be able to relate to this when you get pregnant and sort of life, or let's say your career, take a pause for that matter for some period of time. You should definitely go ahead and pursue your dreams, whatever you have thought of since the beginning, but because of the drive or that push you're not getting, you should utilize your time and just go ahead for that.
I think it was a lot of things. It was the want to do something of my own, being a little worried about what that would look like, having built, a reputation and have done so much in CRO that I felt like it's now is the time to build something of my own. So I think it's, many different triggers.
And what actually motivated you that time? As in, someone might be there, your husband, or let's say your parents, your friends, family, anyone who actually supported you and said, hey, Talia, just go ahead and do whatever you want to do. I'm here and I'm supporting. I'm just having your back, right? So anyone for that matter in your life?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very lucky in that aspect. My entire family was behind me, and also I'm part of a really amazing group called the Shine Crew, and we are a group of women who have been helping and supporting each other's businesses for really over 10 years, like many, 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 many years. And when I was on the brink of, should I do this? Shouldn't I do this? I was already, speaking on stages and I was teaching my methodology, but I was still working for a different company. And when I had this consideration and I was trying to think about it, this group of women, the Shine Crew, they came through for me, and they were the ones that said, you can do this, and here's how you can go about it. And some of these women are in CRO, we're competitors in some way or another, but we truly do believe in each other and help each other out. And I think that's the power of women. So I'm very lucky in that aspect that we've always been there for each other, and to have great family and friends and people around me to support me.
That's so cool. That's so cool to hear that you have so many people around you to sort of support you. Okay, and now coming back to your sort of journey, you have been in this CRO industry for over a decade now, right?
Yeah.
How has your approach changed over the years?
So when I first started out in CRO, there was like maybe 2 companies out there that were doing CRO. It was at the time when most of my sales pitches were about, here's why you should do CRO. And you'd have to convince companies to take some of their budget, and instead of putting it into campaigns, you'd have to optimize your landing pages. And really, when I first started with CRO, which was over a decade ago, a lot of the tests that we would run were based on elements. Changing a call to action button, changing a headline, changing an image. It was very tactical. And while, it was an interesting way to get started, it wasn't enough. So for me, the emotion-based experimentation was the methodology that we developed to get better results, because I realized that conversion optimization isn't about changing elements on a page. It's about solving people's problems. If I can understand why people came to a website, what problem they're trying to solve, what challenges they're experiencing, I can solve that for them with a better UI, better UX, better experience. So understanding how people make decisions, and it's all based on emotion. So for me, I mean, we developed this methodology years and years and years ago, even before I started GetUplift. It really was about, okay, if I want to impact decisions and I want to get more people to buy from my client, I need to understand how people make buying decisions. And buying decisions are all based on emotion in B2B and in B2C. Actually, I recently just partnered with you guys at VWO and wrote an entire guide with you about how to use emotion for experimentation, because it really is the secret to everything. Once you understand your customers' problems and you understand why they're buying from you, it's so much easier to audit your website and look at it and say, oh, I'm saying the wrong things, I'm using the wrong words, I'm using the wrong colors, I'm telling stories people don't care about, or I'm highlighting things people don't really care about. And that's when experimentation becomes so much more meaningful. And, it's evolving even more for us at GetUplift. I mean, it's the Bible of everything that we do in the foundation and what I teach in courses. So it's always going to be the thread that leads me to everything. As long as I can understand and be customer first in optimization, I know that I'm going to get better results for my clients.
Great. Can't agree much. Like, you have to be sort of understand what your customers want. And when you were actually talking about this particular question, that you have to convince the companies to sort of take out their budget, invest in testing, right? I am assuming that when you actually thought of thinking, building your own brand, and while doing so, you must have come across many teams and clients who are not convinced with the idea of the CRO altogether, right? So how did you approach these kind of clients? Or let's say, what are the first few questions that you ask them to sort of build that connect and continue with your strategies going forward?
When I first started out, it really was, oh, do I even need CRO? I mean, what is the point of this? And again, it was because there was no one around doing it. There were no blog posts. I think, there was one or two people that were actually even talking about this. I started doing it without knowing that that was CRO. I was just, oh, I wonder what would happen if I did this. And I think that for me, the pitch back then was, hey, you are driving, you're spending X amount of money. Here are the results that you're getting. But if you were to, instead of pour more money and get the same results, you could spend some money on the design and the copy and the messaging of your pages and get better conversion rate. That would be a much better, result. So that was the pitch at the beginning. And that's what I, focused mostly on. And it was also, it's funny because back then I would say this, and I actually say this now too, is that this is a competitive edge. If you start optimizing your pages, you will be the first person and the first brand to do so, and everyone else will follow you, but they'll be behind you. And it's the same today with when I talk to people and brands about CRO. Sure, you can run A/B tests and everyone else is running A/B tests, but if you start going customer first, if you start leveraging emotion, that will give you the competitive edge that other brands don't have. So I think the pitch, is really around, if you want to really scale and really increase conversions and get meaningful results that last, because that's the key, you have to make it about your customers. You have to put your customer first in everything that you do. And so many brands don't do this. So many brands are talking about their own pricing, their features. They're talking about the technology that they use. They're talking about themselves when they should be talking about the customers. So for me, that's always been the approach when I'm speaking to CMOs, VPs of marketing, and anyone else.
Great. So while actually getting these kind of customers or teams for that matter, what do you think that the biggest misconception these people have about CRO?
I think CRO is mostly viewed as a tactic and not a strategy. What we found at GetUplift is that when we run meaningful experiments, they have an impact on everything, not just the website, but they have an impact on how we start sending emails. They have an impact on how the product looks like. They have an impact on customer success, because we're actively learning things about their customers, and we're understanding why they buy, what makes them hesitate to buy. We understand, what would make them churn. And you can then implement those results and those insights, into everything that you do. And I think the biggest misconception is that people use this as a tactic. Oh, as I said, like, let's change a button, let's reduce a form field. And it's more of what quick wins can I test versus what are meaningful hypotheses, meaningful strategies that I can adopt and test to have a full impact on everything that we do. And I think another misconception is really that it's all about design and it's all about reducing, people don't read, and so write less text and change from blue to red. But really, messaging is the biggest part of conversion optimization. If you get your messaging right, you can skyrocket results. So yeah, those are kind of the two big pieces I think people get wrong.
And how much time you actually it actually takes to convince these kind of clients that, hey, CRO is the important thing, that you should go ahead and actually consider sort of investing your sort of taking out the budget for that and start A/B testing and try understanding how you can optimize your websites in a better manner, right? Understand your customers, understand what are their pain points, and try working on those. So what are the strategies that you follow to sort of make the business, or let's say make the customer's life easier for that matter?
I think one thing what I've noticed is that, for years now, it hasn't been about, oh, you should invest in CRO. Everyone knows that now, right? I mean, that hasn't been the spiel for years now. But most clients come to us having already run A/B tests, have already been experimenting and not getting the results that they wish they were getting. And that's due to a lack of a good process or a good strategy. I've spoken to many CMOs or VPs that say, we had been working with someone, or we have internal CRO efforts, but it's just not moving. It's not getting what we need. And I think we're lacking a strategy. So I think for me, it's less about convincing people to do CRO, and it's more about doing it the right way. But most companies come to us knowing that this is what we do now. So when they come to us, they know that we have a better approach that will help them understand their customers better and optimize their funnels through it. So it's less convincing why you should do it and more just understanding how they can do it. And that's where we get started.
And while actually dealing with any client, can you just walk us briefly through the process of how you identify a problem, right? And how you actually implement emotion-led solution to fix that problem?
Of course. So one of the first things that we do is an audit, and we review the website from a strategic angle. So we do, a heuristic analysis, and we look at the design, and we look at the UX, and of course we look at the raw data that's coming in. Where are the leaks? Where are the biggest opportunities? But the biggest thing that we do is we do qualitative research. And that is when we interview customers and we do surveys for customers and we do social listening and review mining. And essentially, we are asking meaningful questions to identify problems. And what that does is it helps us understand, because when you look at the CRO process for anyone, is most people you'll ask will say, well, I know where the problem is. I know it's my product page, or I know it's my category page, or I know it's my my home page or my landing page if you're in SaaS. And I can see that if I optimize this page, I will get better results. But the biggest question is, but what changes should I make? Like, what can I do that will actually have an impact? So the qualitative research that we conduct answers that question. It tells us, with the surveys and with the interviews and with everything that we do, what people are looking for, what are their biggest pains before finding a solution, how they want to feel after finding a solution, what are the desired outcomes. And it helps us look at a website in a different lens. Instead of looking at just features and pricing and an image, we're looking at the whole messaging approach. We're looking at, are people getting the information that they care about? Can they go through the paths they want to? And can they get the result that they want? So our approach and this kind of research helps us say, hey, you're saying all of this on your homepage, but you should be saying this. You are showing this and you should be showing this, or you're sending people to your pricing page, but what people actually need is this page, or you're using these kind of testimonials, but that's boring and no one cares about that. That's generic. People want to hear about this problem. People want a testimonial about this challenge. So the emotional methodologist helps really understand what needs to be on a page, what changes you need to make that you need to test. So we start with a discovery process with that research. And once we have that, we map out, all a 6-month process of what are the tests going to be? What are we going to test for the next 6 months? What are the things that we're, the core things and hypotheses that we have on a strategic level, and how are we going to test them? And that helps us see the big picture. And it's not just moving one test at a time. You have a full A/B testing or experimentation strategy that's based on real insights from your customers.
Right. So while we talk about the insights from the customers and how a user behaves on different businesses, when we also talk about this emotion-led approach, do you want to share a case study where you actually saw positive impact and uplift, right, through emotional targeting?
We have many different case studies and many different results that we can show. I guess it depends on what people really care about. We've been working with a project management software for a few years now, and we've seen some incredible results just by moving away from generic messaging and design to more specific strategy. And what I mean by that is, when you look at the SaaS world, everyone's saying the same. Everyone's saying we're the #1 solution for, or, today it's powered by AI, or, they're all saying the same thing. It's funny. You can really, like, when you look at certain industries, they all have the same headline. They're all using the same bullet points. They're all saying save time, save money. And it all sounds the same, and they drown in each other. And what we did with this company is we understood who they are really speaking to. We identified their specific customer and said, you don't need to be generic anymore. You don't have to talk about how you are a project management solution software for everyone. Let's talk about the specific problems that these type of customers have and how your solution helps them. Can anyone use your software? Of course, it's a project management solution. But if these specific people use you, they will get the best results. So we optimize their homepage, their pricing page. We did a comparison page where we basically compared them to one of their biggest competitors. And instead of just saying, hey, this is why this company is better than the other, and just like, hey, choose us versus the competitor, we said, this company isn't going to help you with 1, 2, 3, and 4. They are missing X, Y, and Z. And here's why this matters to you. And this is why you should care. And this is why you should sign up for a free trial. Just on that comparison page, by making it longer and having a lot more messaging and using visuals that clearly compare them to the competitor, we got a 54% increase in free trials. And that was just from organic traffic. So, you know, there really are many different examples. We can show in e-commerce, we can show in SaaS. Ultimately, we've seen success with this for, you know, everyone we work with, because it's an ongoing process. And it's just interesting to see how that evolves.
That's correct. So CRO is going to be the ongoing process, and you keep learning with each and every test that you are running, right? So a test might be inconclusive, or test might have not performed the way we wanted, but there must be some sort of insights or learnings that we are definitely going to get from the test that we are running on the platform. So that's great. Now, being a founder, right? So I understand that we are talking about how a business should approach CRO, or how they should think about their consumers or their customers for that matter. But being a founder, how is your approach to work as a founder of the business, right? How does being a woman impact the challenges or advantages you experience in this role?
One of my biggest goals was to build a good team. And a good team means having the right people in the right, you know, seats and roles, and making sure that they are very good at what they do. In my previous agency that I worked at, there were 30 plus people that I managed. And I always felt like at some point we were losing the quality of our work. And it wasn't as good as it can be, because you hire more and more people and it just becomes a bit diluted. With GetUplift, one of the things that that I struggled with, and why I wanted to open GetUplift, was because I wanted it to be a boutique agency. I wanted it to be small and powerful. Have a team that really understands the whole approach and is as an expert in what it does. So building the team has probably been the biggest challenge for me, and it's going well. And I love the team that we've built. And I feel a lot better about it, because I think with the bigger agency, I felt like we had all the knowledge and the client didn't. With this, the way I built GetUplift now allows us to transfer all of our knowledge to our clients, and teach them and coach them and consult them. And I think that works better because we integrate with our client. We become part of the team, versus when we were a bigger agency and it was more like, okay, we've hired an agency and we pay them X amount a month and they do this work for us, but they're not part of the business. Okay. And I truly believe that with CRO, you have to understand the whole business. You can't just focus on one task. So for me, building this boutique agency was about, really finding ways to integrate with our clients and become part of their team. And I think that has been the biggest thing for me.
That's so cool. I pray that you should succeed even better in your journey. And would you like to share how many colleagues you have, as in how many members are there right now in your team?
Yeah, we have different types of people working on the team. And what I mean is we have we have full-time people in the company, and we have also contractors that we're working with, depending on what we need. We have a very strong team of conversion copywriters. We have a great team of web analysis and strategy. And we also have developers and designers that work as contractors when we need them. So the team is kind of diverse and from all over, and actually is women only. Funnily enough, we're only women. Not that I wouldn't hire men, we have in the past, but right now the team is yeah, we're all women on the team, which I'm very proud of and happy with, because
So
everyone.
round of applause for you for that, like being all women team and leading that very dedicatedly and very powerfully. So kudos to you, to be honest. Okay,
Thank you.
now coming back to our CRO journey, what are your predictions for the future of CRO over the next few years? If you'd like to share with our audience or listeners.
Here's what I think is already happening, and I think everyone's leaning heavily on AI
Mm-hmm.
to skip past foundational pieces. And one of the things that I think are important, and I'm hoping that people will see in the years to come, is that while you can use different technology like AI or machine learning or personalization, whatever you want to call the new buzzword, you can use it to really get good results, streamline processes, fast track results, without the foundational work of being customer first and understanding your customers and having someone to actually write on it on an emotion-based way and see your customer. All those tools won't actually give you the results that you want. So what I'm predicting and what I'm hoping is that people will leverage AI and any other technology that comes along as a way to help them do foundational work versus just take shortcuts. Because a lot of people use technology to shortcut and kind of skip ahead to just, putting them out there and testing them. But I really do think that with the power of AI and any other technology that comes, if you do the foundational work, you can get so much more out of it. So it's not really a prediction as much as I'm hoping it will happen. But we'll see. We'll see how companies are able to use that.
Yes, let's see. Let's hope for the best when we talk about CRO industry. Now, you having a whole lot of women in your company, right? All around you. So, any female personality you look up to in this field as your inspiration?
Oh my gosh, there's so many. I think the first woman that I met in CRO was Angie Schottmuller.
Okay.
She has been such an incredible friend and guide. She's part of the Shine crew. When I met her, I was so overjoyed. And I remember I was talking at CTAconf at Unbound. It was one of my first conferences ever that I ever spoke on stage.
Mm-hmm.
And I was going for my presentation and she helped me. And, it was so incredible to be in this space where this person, she was also getting on stage. She was also speaking. She was also hoping to get clients, but she sat with me and, worked through this whole framework with me. And I really appreciated that. And I think in addition to that, there's just so many more women today in CRO, which is, so exciting to see. And I'm just happy to be part of that. There's Else, who's also part of the Shine crew, that I love. There's Daphne Tidman, which I think was on this podcast too. There's Abby, just so many amazing women that are doing great things in CRO. I'm so happy to see more and more women join. And I'm also happy to see how we help each other out and elevate each other.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing this with us. Because right now, while talking to you, I'm getting a lot of insights that I can actually use in my CRO journey, because I am also from a CRO background, right? So I understand what you're trying to tell me and what you're trying to talk about. So thank you so much for boosting me today. Any advice that you'd like to have for newcomers, especially women who have inhibitions in this field, as in CRO field, if you have any sort of advice that you would like to share?
Yeah, I think my advice would be to reach out to other people and ask for help. I know that without the help around me, even of asking, people that I may have been a little worried about reaching out to when I first got started, it doesn't have to be in the CRO industry, by the way. I think, it was really helpful. So I would encourage you, if you're just getting started in CRO, to reach out to people, ask them questions, engage, build yourself your own shine crew that will help elevate you, because it really, really does help. Talking to other women, to other men, to other people who are in the industry, and getting people's advice, joining Slack groups, Facebook groups, and really just collaborating and communicating with as many people as possible. Because I think that is really a great way to start your journey, not for just getting tips and tricks on how to do CRO, just to feel part of a community and to be able to ask the hard questions like, how much should I price this? How do I reach out to this person? Or how do I say no to a client? How do I fire a client? Or I'm working as a CRO within a company. How do I get, a promotion? How do I hire someone? All these questions, there's information out there and people that can help you. So I think it's really worth doing that.
Great. No, it's so good to see women helping women. And if anyone wants to reach out to you, how should they actually do that? Because I thinking from LinkedIn, they can definitely reach out to you. Any other way?
For sure. LinkedIn is great. My website, so GetUplift.co, has a bazillion guides and ways of free kind of worksheets and stuff to use if you want to learn to use our methodology. And if you just want to reach out, then you can also do that via the website or Twitter or LinkedIn. Those are kind of my go-to.
Great. Thank you so much for this information. My last question to you is, actually, I was going through your LinkedIn yesterday, right? And saw that you are going to speak at the e-commerce conference on the March 20th.
Yes.
Right? The same day the X-Men 97 coming out, right?
Yay!
So would you like to finally reveal what you are more excited about?
That is so funny. So for anyone who's listening, I'm speaking on March 20th on stage, and I wrote a post on LinkedIn that I don't know what I'm more excited about. The fact that X-Men 97 is coming out, because I'm a huge, huge, huge comic book geek and nerd. Anything to do with X-Men and anything to do with DC and Marvel, I'm just like huge with comic books. To be honest, I think I'm excited about both. I'm excited about getting on stage, and I chose the X-Men, the animated series, the intro. I chose that as my music to go on stage.
Yes, I saw that. That was really cool. So
I'm using like X-Men GIFs in my presentation, so that's cool. I'm excited. I'm excited about both, to be speaking on stage, and I'm have sworn, had my husband swear he won't watch the episodes until I get back. So it's gonna be fun.
So yeah, that's it from the questions or the thing that I wanted to understand from you with respect to your journey in the CRO industry. Now moving to our next segment, which is going to be a fun one. So it's going to be a rapid fire questions.
I'm ready.
Cool. 3 apps that you can't live without.
Oh my gosh. I can't live without Slack, I guess.
Okay.
My calendar, because I live by it.
Okay.
And let me see what's on my home screen. Sorry, I'm pausing. I have like, our groceries. So I have this app called Our Groceries, and it syncs with everyone in the house, and it's amazing, because without it, like, we'd have nothing in our fridge.
Great. Second question, what would be the title of a movie if it was made about your life?
No, that's a huge question. I have no idea. Oh my God. I mean, it would be cool if, I don't know. I mean, it would be cool if it was an animation or like a comic-led thing, just because I like that. And it would probably be the tales of Talia and like CRO and family and like, in the insane life that I live, because I live like a crazy person.
That's cool. That's interesting to know.
Just like I live in hyper speed, because I'm doing like a billion things. I'm in, like, I have my family, I have my business, I'm renovating my house right now, and I'm also in charge of like everything in the community that I live in. So we're doing like all sorts of volunteer work and stuff. So basically there's not enough hours in the day for what I do. So I guess it would be that, which is why my husband got me this Wonder Woman necklace, because
that's so cool. Okay, so wait, in India we actually wear similar kind of a necklace. We call it Mangal Sutra. So during marriage, our husbands actually put this around our neck. So this is what we wear for our entire life. So
amazing! I love that. You're a Wonder Woman. That's incredible. I love that.
It's a similar design that you have. So
maybe they copied it from India.
No idea. I did not have any sort of idea.
I'm pretty sure like the DC Comics came after India. So they probably kind of use that as an inspiration. That's pretty cool.
One thing that you'd like to change about the CRO industry?
I want it to change more just in terms of like, and we spoke about this before, just in the way people approach it, not as a tactic, but more as a complete holistic approach.
Great. Fourth question. What's the most random fact that you know by heart?
Do I know anything? It's making me question life. Hold on. Random fact. Random fact. Well, I'll tell you something like that's random is that I'm a skydiver and I have over 1,000 skydives. And whenever my parents would get upset with me and like they're worried about me, I would say, well, you know, more people die from car accidents than skydiving, which makes sense because lots of people skydive, but they don't have to know that. So that was my like made up random fact, but not a real one. Just like
oh God, I could totally relate to this because my husband is a freak, as in he wants to, so when we visited Dubai, so he actually went ahead and skydived. So it was such an amazing experience for him. And I was like, please don't do this. I am so much scared. I was so scared. Please don't do this. And it was like, he actually told me the same thing, that we actually die a lot more with accidents. So why are not?
Exactly. I also, here's a random fact. Do you know that more people die from like hippopotamuses for some reason than any other animal? My husband told me that. I don't know if it's true, but we're at the safari and that's what he said to our kids. I'm like, okay, that's a random fact.
Great. Moving on to the next question. Your guilty pleasure TV show or movie?
So I go through phases. Okay. Most of it is just like DC animation comics because I absolutely love. So like Batman, the animated series was, you know, incredible. And I rewatch it every time I can. Anything to do with like Wonder Woman, Superman. But actually right now I'm rewatching The Big Bang Theory, which is, you know, just for the kicks. But mostly it's just comic stuff. Like I just watched Spider-Man, you know, the animated series from like the 90s, which was really bad.
Sorry.
I mean, that's a terrible thing to say. I actually tried watching, I'm now rewatching X-Men, the animated series, obviously, because it's coming out. And I have to say that the whole time I'm just staring at it, I'm like, I don't know why I love this show so much because the dialogue sucks. Like it's really bad, but I love the show. I love them so much that I'm so excited. But that's my guilty pleasure. I just sit in front of the telly and eat popcorn and watch comic book stuff.
Cool. That's pretty cool. Moving on to your next question. If you had a podcast, who is the first person that you would invite on the show?
Well, I mean, I don't have a podcast, but I've had a few things. One is if I could bring people back, I would have my grandma. She passed a few years ago, but she would actually be my first guest just because I think she just had so much to say and teach the world. And she was really I looked up to her so much in everything that she did. And if it's like a professional podcast, I think I would just love to talk to people I've never spoken to before, like people that I have no access to, that I don't usually speak to, maybe either people that are just getting started in something or someone who's made it, you know, in a big way, but in like a little niche just to learn kind of tactics and stuff. And the other person I'd love to have on a podcast is Mayin Bialik, just because I think she's so cool. And I would love to like chat to her because she was in The Big Bang Theory, but she's also, and I think she has like a doctorate in like brain science or something. And I just think it's so cool to just speak to people that are like actors, but they also have incredible degrees. Anyway, just always interested in people that kind of learn one thing and do something else and just the path.
Great. Okay. The next question, 3 books that you would recommend to our listeners.
Predictably Irrational by Dan Ariely is a must read. If you're in CRO, you have to read that. And I mean, if it's not business, then I would recommend the Grishaverse. I just love everything Lee Bordeaux kind of publishes. It's a 6-book series about magic, and I think you can get what kind of type of person I am. But like, it's all about magic and really cool things, and they all work together, and she's just brilliant. And I also would recommend reading Atomic Habits, which is another business book, really helpful for anyone who just wants to understand, you know, their own habits and create new ones and get rid of others. Just a really good read.
Great. Now you already are a superwoman, but if one superpower that you would like to have, what is that going to be?
I feel like I would either want to be able to fly just so I could get places quicker.
Okay. Interesting.
Or I'd like to be an empath.
Okay.
I feel like that would be, like a really cool superpower to like be an empath and feel other people's emotions and be able to kind of help more people that way.
Great. I think you already answered my next question, but just to sort of give a quick answer on the rapid fire questions. One thing that you are tired of explaining to your client.
And you are not your customer. I think that is like my biggest thing is they will say to me, we know this, or we don't like it, or we founded the company and we know this is not blah, blah, blah. And you are not your customer. You are not your customer. Your website doesn't have to speak to you. It needs to speak to your customers. So that's kind of it.
Absolutely. Great advice and great thing that you actually told us. The last question is one goal or dream that you would like to achieve in the next 3 years.
So on a business level, that is publishing my book that I'm writing right now. God, I hope it's going to take less than 3 years. I mean, the goal's next year, but that's like number 1 is publishing my book. I'm really, really, really looking forward to doing that. Number 2 is just probably just speaking more on stage. I do it quite a bit, but I really enjoy it and doing more of that. And on a personal level, I want to start taking summers off completely and just spend them with my family. So I'm hoping to do that too.
And whenever you're going to take this off during summers, plan some trip to India.
Oh, that's a great question. Actually, I would love to do that next summer if I could, like just like take 2 months and then travel to India and Nepal. Like that's my dream.
Yes. So yeah, this is it. Thank you so much, Talia, for your time today. I thoroughly enjoyed talking to you. It was such a pleasure. Your thoughts were so insightful. I actually learned so many things from you today. And I hope that our audiences and listeners also actually learned so many things, especially women. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me. And it was a lot of fun. And I'm now going to go, and think about a movie about me. What would that be called? Because now it's going to like haunt me for a few days. So I'll let you know.
Cool. So please post that on LinkedIn whenever you decide or think about it. And if you sort of get any name, please post that on LinkedIn so that our viewers, listeners, audience also should know about it.
Sounds good.
Cool. Then thank you so much for your time. Have a great rest of the day. Thank you so much.
You too.